What is the most disrespectful shit someone has done to you? My first job as a photography intern, my boss posted on Facebook that he was going to fire me hours before he told me. We were friends on Facebook at the time. But why would he even post that in the first place? What a weirdo. Did you reply to him on FB before he did? When I worked a kiosk, someone sneezed into their hand and wiped it on my back when they passed by. What the fuck? This is one of the most disrespectful things I've seen in this thread. I'm sure others have had it way worse, but when I was about 17, I was assembling a ride-on train track, about 2 feet between rails, for an indoor amusement park when the owner of the company came in. He decided to help me. I don't know why. I didn't ask for help and didn't need help. He helped me put a couple track segments together and decided that was enough work for him, so he got up off the floor and wiped his greasy, dusty hands off on my jeans. With my leg in them. I was seriously incensed. With my leg in them, so obvious and yet so much better. I'm trying to picture wiping my dirty hands on the pants of the people I'm closest to in the world, and I can't wrap my head around it. That's either a complete lapse in brain function that he still kicks himself about today, or that man is totally dysfunctional. It was a first day of one of my college courses and we were telling everyone our names. I said mine and the professor said my husband wanted to name our son that, but I didn't want him to get made fun of. Edit, my name is Angus. Somewhat related, but when I started my last job I went in for orientation and to fill out my employment paperwork, and the head of HR told me that her daughter and I shared a name, well actually a nickname. Because though she and her husband loved my name as a nickname, they wanted their daughter to have a more professional sounding legal name. She didn't even seem to realize that she'd said anything I might find offensive. Captain Rip would be a weird name for a kid. Was working at a Dairy Queen when I was 16. It was a hot summer day and a lady came in and dumped a melted blizzard upside down on my arm/hand. In the process it covered my register, the wall and the floor. She started yelling about how her ice cream melted and how I need to make her a new one. She was served in the drive-thru. I was working the front counter inside. My co-worker said she left over 20 minutes ago. I still had to make her a new one and give her a refund. That's FKD, I'm so sorry. That's akin to spitting on someone, which is considered assault. Not to mention vandalism of the register. A good manager would have had your back and barred her from returning. Edit, battery. Till. Anyway, I wasn't suggesting legal action, just that the manager could have stepped up. A kid at school when I was younger who put out his cigarette out on my face. Still got the burn scar. Edit, a lot of people been asking about the repercussions and suing him for damages. I was really young back then, around 14, and the rules around bullying wasn't set to stone. They left it off as kids being kids even though I had serious burn marks on my face. We filed a complaint, went to the police and sued him. In the end the lawsuit returned us with something minor cause he was too young. So he did get some tasks he needed to fulfill by justice, it wasn't enough for me. Hope that clears the questions people had. Does the scar at least make you look like a badass? At least you didn't get it from an acne guy with your father. My ex-husband and I were on the road to divorce. I had done absolutely everything I could possibly think of to turn us around, and as a last-ditch effort, I wrote him a letter. I knew it had a 0.1% chance of doing anything, so it was also kind of a thank you for the good years letter, too. We were living with his parents because originally, we sold our house to make an upgrade. I guess that was his window of opportunity. Anyway, his mom found the letter and not only read it, but took pictures of it and shared it with multiple people, who started tearing me apart via text. How did I know this? She never hears her phone go off, so I would usually bring it to her. I went to do that and saw the mentions of a letter and saw the context of what was sent. I didn't say anything, just set the phone back down and went outside to get a breath of air. Later that week, she said she was tired of me being around and that he needed me to sign the papers then and there, and I didn't get a say in anything. I mentioned sharing the letter, and she said she was allowed to do that because it was in her house. Therefore, it was her property. Still trying to wrap my head around that one. And then they sat there and watched TV while I packed my things. How are you doing now? Teacher here, from a student. One student described how he would rape and kill me in graphic detail after he failed a test. From a co-worker, a paraprofessional mocked me for high-fiving one of my autistic students after he gave a really great description of how he understood a math problem. That kid is a selective mute with a horrific past, and she told me I was a complete joke for congratulating him. Even worse, she said it in front of the kid. From my father, putting me down when I got to meet my childhood idol. I got to show my idol my first published research paper, and my father interrupted just to tell me, "Shut up, you're not going to win the Nobel Prize." Man, I'm sorry your father did that, what a fucking clown. I think it's really cool that you got to show your idol your first research paper. May I ask who your idol is? What was your paper about? Locked my new bike up outside a supermarket and ducked inside to get some yogurt because it was Friday night and that's how I de-stress after a long week. Self-checkout line was busier than expected, but I was in and out in about 10 to 15 minutes. Didn't want to leave it for too long because someone had pinched the seat from outside my house a couple of weeks earlier. From a short distance I could see my bike was facing the opposite way I'd left it and felt a little confused. I got closer and saw my U-lock looking like a pretzel. It seemed like someone had tried to wrench off my lock, failed, and then just picked up my bike and tried to use it as leverage to pop the thing off, failed again, but succeeded in completely fucking the entire aluminium frame. Total write-off, could not be fixed. Someone once stole only my bike seat. Fucking pricks. Edit, a lot of y'all have some funny ass comments, but I got it stolen from in my own backyard. It was a vintage cruiser and there was no replacement seat that fit, so my mum made it into a display in the garden. It's been about 2 years and I'm still pissed. And in case you're interested, my first cruiser was stolen days after I got it on Christmas when I was 16. People are dicks. I am so sorry to hear this. Decent bikes are so expensive. Did you have insurance? My ex didn't allow me to have any female friends and wouldn't even let me say my best friend's female name in front of her. We broke up because she fell in love with her best friend, male. Holy shit, are you me? My ex-girlfriend hated any female that even tried talking to me. I had a female friend that helped me through a lot of rough shit my first year of college. She made me delete her number out of my phone. Whenever we'd fight she would tell me to just date her instead. It's called projection. I had someone I considered a close friend send an unprovoked email outing me to the entire staff of the place I worked. Not only that, he took a screenshot of an online dating profile as proof and told them to keep their kids away from me. I was a teaching professional at a country club. Oh no. What happened after that? What a terrible, trifling boss. Some people just really do get off on hurting others. Go to a meeting for work. Co-worker says to opposing counsel, "Hey, do you want to meet Gutenberg Bible?" He's here and gestures back at me standing in the hall with a bunch of files. This motherfucker looks me up and down, turns back to my co-worker, and says no. Reminds me of a job I had at college at this pie firm. There was an attorney there, let's call him Frank, because his name was Frank, and when I first started, I tried to introduce myself, and Frank cut me off immediately and said, "I don't want to know your name until you've been here at least 6 months, and then just walked off. Not gonna lie, that's hilarious. Yesterday at my job, supermarket, I went outside with some guy to bring the handicap scooter back in. He immediately began to yell at me and curse at me about how he's handicapped and for not helping his wife unload their groceries. I tried explaining to him that because of the current situation, we can't touch people's groceries unless they specifically ask us. He wouldn't even let me talk, kept interrupting and insulting me. So I just stayed quiet and he eventually threatened to call his grandson to come kick my ass, then drove off with his wife who was also insulting me under her breath. Being an essential worker sucks. That is terrible. I wish I could send you a virtual air hug. Dealing with the public can truly suck. We don't get paid enough for this shit. A week before I went on maternal leave, a customer made a big fuss about needing someone to take her groceries to her car for her, also in the scooter, when we're half an hour to close. It's just me and my cashier at that time of night, and with customers coming to my cashier that fell on me to take out the groceries, not really a huge deal tbh. This woman waits until I've got nearly everything unloaded from the scooter before she starts sniffling and saying how she could manage the rest of the bags because it wasn't right that I was doing so much in my condition. TBH, I'm going to miss having this big belly when I get back to work. Customers who start laying into me shut up real fast when they notice I'm carrying a watermelon. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.